Welcome back, guys. So in this video I'm going to be going over handle contouring. So where we left off is we finished profiling the knife with the handle, and I have already put out some lines. So we're going to have the handle taper from the front to the back, so it's 5/8 in the front and it's going to taper out to 7/8 in the back. So that's where we're going to start off with, and we're going to lay out some other lines once we get that, and we're going to get this thing shaped, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Okay, so you saw me grind that first side, and as you can see, I'm right on the line there now, all the way around. And just to explain what I was doing, I start off up here at the top. You got to put a little bit of an angle on it, and you grind towards it. And what I was checking and is to see how far on this side and how far on this side I am. And what I do is if I'm grinding more on this side and I need more to take off this side, you kind of tweak it this way, check it, and you're just watching the line as you're sanding it. You'll end up with a line, and you just want that line to be straight across. You don't want it tapered down this way or down this way. You're just trying to keep that grind even, and then you're just grinding and checking, and then as you see that you're getting closer to this line, what you want to do is start applying more pressure to the bottom to get that grind to pull down. So once you get the hang of it, it's pretty quick, and it's wood. This is wood, so it grinds pretty quickly. But you just got to keep an eye on what you're doing. This is why I lay out lines. They're kind of a guide, but sometimes you might have to make changes. But it helps keep things even. And then you can see on this other side how much we took off. So I'm going to set the camera back up and just let it run real quick, kind of a time lapse, and you can watch it again, just see exactly what I'm doing. All right, so we are back at the bench now, and now you can definitely see that taper. I'm gonna say we might be off a little bit in some places, and sometimes the marker gets a little off from straight, but everything has a nice taper to it, and that's what we want. So what I'm going to do now is we want to start contouring. So what we will do is, see, if you look down the knife, what we want to do is we want to take off these corners, all 4 of these corners. And so I'm going to lay out lines the way I like. So about halfway down on each side of here, I'm going to make a line all the way down. And then on this side, I will basically split it in about thirds. So, well, yeah, maybe thirds up here, and it'll kind of taper out towards the back. So this one here, I'll split the scale in half, make a line down the middle on this side and down the middle on this side. And on this side, I'll come about a third of the way in this way, a third of the way in this way. And then what we'll do when you look at this side, you'll have an angle, and that'll give you an idea of the angle you need to grind off, and that will help you keep everything symmetrical. So let me lay those out, and I'll show you what it looks like. All right, so now we got some lines on here. Going lines on things and lines on this side, and if you look at it from the back, that's what we should have on the back. And so we'll have a facet here, flat, facet, flat, facet, flat. And so what I like to do, if I do a lot of these, which I'm doing 2, but I'm doing them in different stages, but I'll show you. I like to set them up on my tool rest and get the angle set, so that you're basically grinding off on that angle. It makes it a lot quicker, and it makes it consistent on both sides. So even though we're doing just one, I'll show you how I do that. So once we get that, all we have to do is just blend those in radius. And, well, take that back. Once I get those in there, and then I will put a little hollow in here. So where this comes in, your finger will tuck up in there a little bit, and it'll be a nice little relief in there. But this will set us up nicely for that. And I'll show you how I do that after I get this. So we're going to the grind room, and I'll show you what we're doing in there. Okay, so this doesn't have to be something that's exact. It's something you're gonna have to play with a little bit. The last time I did this, I was sitting somewhere around 70, 72 degrees. So that's kind of where I'm gonna shoot for. But you can always start a little bit more shallow and kind of see how you're grinding. And I just want to get somewhere close that's meeting those lines that I want, and then I can have them consistent all the way around. So what I'm looking for right here is we have our line here and we have our line here, and I want to try to get the angle that's best suited to get as close to both of those angles as I can.
So I'm just going to feel it out right now and grind a little bit and see what it's looking like, and I'll go back and adjust the angle a little bit until I find something I like, and then I will grind the entire knife that way. Sometimes it's hard to know going from one style of knife to another. This is just what I knew worked last time for me, so that's what I'm going to start out with and see how it looks. So we'll get this going and we'll see what it looks like. So it looks like right here, we're getting really close to the line we have on the flat, but we're not quite as close to where we want on the top. So I'm going to adjust this angle so that it's a little bit more steep so that we can grind up here, and then we will see what that looks like. And finally we can find something that's somewhere in the middle. You see it's pretty close to this line we already have here. We just want to pull it over that way, so I'm gonna tilt it a little bit farther forward and see if that'll get us where we want to be. So I'm gonna set that up and then we'll start grinding again. Okay, so I've adjusted the tool rest and about 10 degrees, and we're right about where we want to be now. So this is what I'm gonna leave it at. And you can see it's even, and so this will go really quickly now. It takes, as I said, it takes a little time to set it up, but if you're doing multiple blades, multiple handles, this goes really quickly. But yeah, I just wanted to show that. So I'll do this side, I'll do the other side, and do these underneath here real quick. I'll kind of do that kind of sped up. And then I'll show you how I go from there. Okay, so we are back at the bench. This is the results that we have. Nice, even facets. Some of them, there might be a couple little spots like this that kind of hard to get to. This is fine. I found that it doesn't always have to be completely perfect, because once we start blending that'll come out, but I didn't want to get too close and hit that with that 60 grit belt. So what I'm going to do is I want to mark a couple lines kind of across here on both sides, and I will put in my scallop, so it will kind of radius in, and it will just touch this line and then come back out and stop just shy over here. So I just kind of want to get a reference line on both sides, and this what makes it really nice is now that everything's got sharp corners on it, kind of faceted, it makes trying to find your transition points easier, because once you start blending this, it's really hard to get things nice and square and even. But you can see everything looks pretty good. And once we get that, I'll chamfer these edges off, and I will radius the back end of this as well once we have our little scallop in here. And that'll give you a nice place to fingers just to tuck in. It feels really good right now, but just having a little bit of that recess in there, I will leave it. There'll be more on the bottom here, and I'll kind of leave a little bit thicker up here towards the top, so it'll be a little bit angled. I like it a little bit more meat on top, and it gives your fingers somewhere to tuck into. And having that kind of swell back out where it tapers out from the front to the back, that gives your hand a really nice lock. So when you can really get in and do what you need to do with this thing. So I'm gonna mark me a line, might put a little tape just as kind of a guide, and then we'll see if we can't get this scallop put in here. I've marked just a little bit of a reference line, so I'm shooting for right in front of this middle pin. So it's just kind of a reference just to kind of keep things even with this radius to see where I'm coming in, where I'm going out. And we're just gonna blend them in, kind of tuck it in and just kind of kiss that line and come back out. So we're gonna go in the grind room, see if we can make that happen.